or should not handle food or drinks. Simple. This applies to hosts of restaurants who answer phone calls and seat guests, but do not serve food or drinks. While in the work environment, you should be respectful to everybody. Showing respect for one another will make the working environment pleasant for everybody and encourage good teamwork. You will be part of a business. Think of it as a machine that has many different parts that all move together to produce a single outcome or product. Every piece of the machine can represent a different person in a kitchen. Every person works together to produce food for customers. If one person in the kitchen isn't doing their job correctly, it will affect the food that is made. Any problems, questions, or concerns should be communicated to the person in charge or to fellow employees when appropriate. If we all work together, communicate with one another, do our job correctly, and work respectfully with one another, the workplace will be a better place for everybody. Using a thermometer is the only way to ensure food is held correctly and cooked to the proper temperature. Therefore, verifying if a thermometer is properly measuring the temperature of foods is extremely important to ensure food safety. There are several types of thermometers that can be used to verify food temperature. However, probe or stem type thermometers are the most common and are the only ones that can measure internal food temperature. They need to be verified to ensure they are accurately calibrated routinely and every time after being dropped. The recommended way to verify if a food probe thermometer is properly working is to use the ice point method. Food handlers must fill a container with ice, preferably crushed, and then add tap water to just below the top of the ice. Swirl or let the ice water sit for a few minutes to allow the temperature to stabilize. Put the thermometer probe into water while avoiding the sides and bottom of the cup. Hold the thermometer for 30 seconds, and the temperature should read 32 degrees Fahrenheit. If the thermometer does not read between 30 degrees Fahrenheit and 34 degrees Fahrenheit, recalibrate or discard the thermometer. Quality food in, quality food out. You want to be sure the food you serve to your customers is safe to eat. Food products should meet quality standards and be properly stored, especially items that need to be refrigerated. Food products to be used in restaurants must be from an approved source and always be within their expiration date. To ensure proper storing and rotating, the food that has been in storage longest should be the next food used. Regarding temperature, food handlers must always measure the temperature of the foods to ensure they haven't entered the danger zone where bacteria thrive. TCS stands for Time, Temperature Control for Safety, and these types of foods need to be kept under refrigeration or hot holding. TCS foods must only be received and kept at 41 degrees Fahrenheit, with a few exceptions. Milk may be received at 45 degrees Fahrenheit, but must be placed in 41 degrees Fahrenheit refrigeration immediately. Eggs may be received and stored at 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Live shellfish, like oysters, mussels, and clams, may be received at 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Frozen foods must always be received frozen and kept in similar fashion. Beverages and ice are also food items that must be properly handled. Newly received foods should be inspected, documented, and quickly put into proper storage. Foods inspected upon receiving to be above their appropriate temperature should be immediately rejected. In addition, foods with the following characteristics must also be rejected: cans that appear to be swollen, expanded, or dented; cardboard boxes with watermarks showing evidence of thawing of frozen foods; frozen foods with water crystals showing evidence of thawing and refreezing on frozen foods; any spoiled food such as moldy cheese or bread or sour milk; expired food products and foods without labels; food or packaging with signs of pests, holes, or rust. Food products must be properly stored to avoid possible cross-contamination. Overall, food must be stored on shelves placed at least 6 inches off the floor. Coolers and refrigerators must have internal thermometers, which should be easily accessible and placed in the warmest area of the unit. Raw animal products, such as meat, fish, and poultry, must be stored below or away from ready-to-eat foods. Date marking is required for ready-to-eat foods opened or prepared in the establishment and held refrigerated for more than 24 hours. These foods must be marked with the date, either of preparation or expiration, and be consumed or discarded within 7 days, including the day of preparation. Ready-to-eat products such as cooked rice, sliced deli meat, chicken and tuna salad, cooked vegetables, and soups must be held at 41 degrees or less for the duration of no more than 7 days.
Play music.
Time temperature control for safety foods, or TCS foods, are any foods that have a specific shelf life and must be kept under refrigeration for safety. TCS foods that are expired or kept under unacceptable temperatures or past the allotted time must be discarded. When dealing with TCS foods, food handlers must understand the temperature danger zone. This zone is the range of temperatures that allows bacteria to grow quickly in foods. Some of these bacteria can cause illness if the product is left in the danger zone, or if the food is not properly cooked. The temperature danger zone is 41 degrees Fahrenheit to 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, when food is not cooked to the required temperature, bacteria in food persists, which may cause foodborne illness. Therefore, food handlers must always keep the temperature danger zone in mind when cooking, cooling, thawing, or chilling foods. Common TCS foods include raw animal products such as beef, pork, fish, seafood, and poultry. Dairy products such as milk, sour cream, ice cream, and some cheeses, eggs, garlic in oil, some cut foods such as melons, tomatoes, and leafy greens, and cooked rice, potatoes, beans, vegetables, and grains. Dry foods that can be stored at room temperature are not considered TCS foods. Proper cooking is an effective way to control food safety. Cooking kills most of the microorganisms that can cause illness. Raw animal products need to be cooked to the following internal temperatures measured in the thickest part with a probe thermometer. Chicken, 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. Ground and cut up meats, 155 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. Steak, pork, fish, and eggs, 145 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. After foods are cooked to the proper temperature, they need to be handled safely to ensure that no bare hand contact or cross-contamination occurs afterward. Cooked products must never be stored next to raw animal products. Although undercooking foods increase the chance of foodborne illness, establishments may provide the option for customers to request having undercooked foods, such as rare meats, sunny-side-up eggs, and raw oysters if a consumer advisory notice is declared on the menu. Holding foods at their proper temperature is a breeze. Hot foods ready to be served hot should be and stay hotter than the temperature danger zone to keep the germs from growing, 135 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Regularly check the temperature of the foods and occasionally stir the foods to mix the temperature all around. Foods which are ready to be served cold, they should stay cold, colder than the temperature danger zone, below 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Cooling and reheating foods are some of the riskiest parts of food safety because they are traveling through the temperature danger zone. Because of this, foods need to be watched carefully. Okay, maybe not watched, but monitored, ideally with a log, to be sure it is cooling down or heating up within a certain amount of time. Too much time in the temperature danger zone allows the germs within the food to grow and multiply. Foods need to be cooled in a two-step process. The food needs to cool from 135 degrees Fahrenheit to 70 degrees Fahrenheit within 2 hours. Food then needs to cool to 41 degrees Fahrenheit or below within 6 hours total. Best ways to cool foods: placing uncovered foods in shallow pans, using an ice water bath, using ice paddles, placing food container in a blast chiller. When reheating cooled food, be sure to move quickly through the danger zone. Foods must be reheated to 165 degrees Fahrenheit within 2 hours. Do not use hot holding equipment to reheat foods. Best ways to reheat foods: on the stove, in the oven, in a microwave. Placing frozen foods on a counter at room temperature is an unsafe method of thawing because the outside of the food risks entering the temperature danger zone while waiting for the inside to thaw. Best ways to thaw frozen foods: in the refrigerator, submerged under cold running water, in the microwave if cooking immediately, as a part of the cooking process. Cross-contamination is when germs from one place hitchhike to a new place. They can travel on utensils.
To be continued!